Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the day 2 of our RPAS 3. Good morning. So it is our great pleasure as an international civil aviation organization to be here with you in Chengdu. I hope you enjoyed last evening. It's a fantastic city, and you are a very nice environment of experts and high-level officials that need to work together and to stay together and know each other better. So I hope that you've had the opportunity to do this last night. As I told you, we are really happy to be here in Chengdu for the third Global Remotely Piloted Aircraft System Symposium. And we want to really believe that this progress on complex issue affecting global RPAS operation need to be addressed, and we are more than happy to be with you today. Yesterday we had the privilege to hear opening remarks from the ICAO Secretary General, as well from senior officials from the People's Government of Sichuan Province, the Civil Aviation Administration of China, and the Office of China State Air Traffic Control Commission. Captain Houston Mills then set the stage for our discussion in his keynote address on global perspective and challenges, based on his experience as Global Aviation Strategy and Public Policy Director at UPS. In our first session as well, speakers explore the theme of categorization and the need for a new paradigm for regulating RPAS that jointly considers the aircraft and operational risks. Next, we took a look at the evolving regulatory framework for RPAS, from the development of standards to implementation, with a focus on licensing and training of remote pilots as one of the pillars to enable RPAS operation. To close our day one, panelists share their experience on the benefits and challenges of developing and implementing harmonized regulation, especially in the light of the rapid pace of industry innovation. And now, on day 2, on RPAS 3, we are ready to get into some of the details of the journey we anticipate in the transition from accommodation to integration. To help us get started, it is my great pleasure to introduce our second keynote speaker, Ms. Khoza, as the Director of Civil Aviation of South Africa. And Ms. Khoza has over 14 years experience in senior management position in aviation and served as a member on various aviation structures nationally and internationally. Until very recently, she served as Vice Chair and then Chair of the ICAO Aviation Security Panel, where she also co-chaired the working group on air cargo security. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Khoza to the podium.
Dear Program Director, the Secretary General of ICAO, Dr. Fang Liu, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all. Firstly, I wish to begin by thanking ICAO for extending an invitation to participate and share thoughts on this critical matter relating to remotely piloted aircraft systems, and most importantly for convening this symposium and ensuring that all relevant stakeholders from across the world get to provide input as to how we can collectively shift from accommodating into integration of RPAS into the global aviation system. It is indeed an honor and a great pleasure to be part of a historic moment such as this one. Some years ago, Daniel Bell, who was an American sociologist, writer, editor, and professor at Harvard University, once said, "Technology, like art, is a soaring exercise of the human imagination," close quote. I couldn't agree more. And it would seem that Albert Einstein also agreed when he said, and I quote, "The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination," close quote. Ladies and gentlemen, you would perhaps agree that we are gathered here to figure out realistic solutions to deal with an aviation phenomenon which was once just an imagination. I would go as far as to argue that the forefathers of the RPAS technology were perhaps at some point dismissed as delusional and or unrealistic. The reality is that today, what was once an imagination is here to stay and possibly dominate how human beings and goods move from one point to another. What I am trying to say is that for the very first time, the aviation industry, which is renowned for innovation, has been overtaken by events and technology. Having said that, I am very encouraged by the diversity of topics which are being discussed in this symposium, as the solutions that would come out of this engagement will not only be suitable for aviators and the related industries, but possibly many sectors of our society. So where do we start in finding solutions towards fostering the emergence of a comprehensive and harmonized regulatory framework? I am sure there are many experts who would propose possible solutions in a very detailed manner, and hence I would like to focus on suggested solutions that can be driven by states and their respective civil aviation authorities. In this regard, please allow me to share with you 5 points that I wish to put forward for consideration. The first point relates to the development of smart regulations. I am using SMART in this case as an acronym, and I will expand later on in my speech. Progressive administration of regulations at state level, which is the second point. Third point being the universal management and administration of RPAS operations. Fourth, identification and classification of RPAS. And lastly, drumming up of citizen support. So point number 1 on the development of smart regulations. As we move closer to finalizing universal technical standards and rules under the banner of ICAO, we must make sure that such are based on the approach of the SMART principles. Let me break down the SMART principles in this regard. The S in SMART will have to stand for specific. The standards and regulations that we will eventually adopt need to talk to, among others, specific operations and various forms of RPAS. This is crucial considering that the ultimate user of such regulations will not only be a typical aviator. In fact, the owner of this technology could be an 18-year-old or a 22-year-old entrepreneur who has identified a gap in the market and efficiencies that can help his business to be more profitable, albeit with little aviation experience. All involved need to be able to understand and apply the rules consistent with everyone else. If not, law enforcement agencies will have their hands full prosecuting one teenager after another. The M in the SMART will have to stand for meaningful. The regulations will have to be meaningful for everyone involved. Using the example of the teenagers I have just used, if the regulations are to be perceived as not adding positive impact in facilitating the usage of RPAS, many would want to bypass such rules. We live in an era of millennials, and the generations after that are known for questioning and challenging the status quo. If it does not make sense to them, they may want to completely disregard it. Therefore, our regulations must make sense to the users. The A in the SMART will have to stand for adaptable. The regulations will need to be flexible to the extent that they are able to be amended swiftly to accommodate new technological advancement. This sector is changing rapidly, with manufacturers and users continuing to push boundaries and would always want to stay a mile ahead of their competitors through better service offering. The nature of the service offering could be disruptive to the prevailing status quo at the time. Think of artificial intelligence and the fourth industrial revolution and how it is likely to be exploited and integrated with RPAS technology to provide an efficient service. As regulators, are we geared towards accommodating such rapid changes? We must not be found wanting or reactive, as the shifting trends in aviation are proving that we need regulators who can swiftly adapt to innovation whilst preserving aviation safety and security. Aviation is known for its impeccable record compared to other modes of transportation, and we must not lower the bar, but we must manage this delicate balance between innovation and safety. The R in the SMART, in this regard, will have to stand for relevant. The regulations will need to be realistic and relevant in order to serve as enablers and not inhibitors of innovative RPAS development and operations. With the rapid development and growth in this sector, what was relevant yesterday may no longer be relevant today, So a strong research capability and the sharing of information among states, among regulators, is now more required than ever before, because the way of doing things in a laissez-faire attitude is under scrutiny. The T in the SMART, in this regard, will have to stand for timeliness. As harsh as it may sound, we are playing a catch-up at the moment, and this technology has caught us by surprise. Our interventions need to be timely in order to encourage continued innovation in this sector. If not, regulators will be like typewriter specialists in an ICT era. The second point that I wish to share is on progressive administration of regulations. Program Director, the second point, as I've indicated, that I would like to raise is that in developing regulations, we have to ensure that those that are tasked with enforcing compliance have a progressive approach to compliance. What I mean is that our inspectorate and our law enforcement officers need to see RPAS as advanced business mechanisms for many industries. If we don't inculcate such a culture, overzealous officials could potentially stand in the way of those seeking to bring efficiencies in commerce, hindering the socio-economic benefits that this technology is likely to bring. This means that states have to ensure that all technical personnel responsible for overseeing efficient and lawful operation of RPAS have to have the requisite minimum qualifications and skills. In fact, as it stands, some of us may not have all the necessary technical know-how that is above or equivalent to those that we are supposed to oversee. So collaboration becomes key between industry, between regulators, academia, law enforcement institutions, civil society, and research institutions, so that collectively we can move together, but without interfering with each other's mandates. Regulators must still regulate without fear or favor in the interest of preserving aviation safety and security. We need to start investing in educating each other on our different responsibilities in order to avoid confusion. The industry, in as much as they are rigorously advancing their own agenda, commercially and otherwise, they need to have an appreciation of regulators' mandate, and regulators alike need to have an appreciation of the intent of those that they regulate. The simple takeaway point in this regard is that we need to start collaborating meaningfully to manage the integration of RPAS into the global civil aviation system. The third point relates to universal and harmonized management and administration of RPAS operations. If we were to amend aviation as an example, both in terms of safety and security, and use aircraft accidents or airport security as well as communicable diseases as an example, one is assured that all the right processes and by all the relevant stakeholders are followed to the T almost all the time. Each of the stakeholders that have a role to play know exactly what to do and at what point their services are needed. Currently in RPAS, it is not very clear, or rather it is not clear-cut, as we still have legislative issues that need refinement to clearly administer this complex environment. Ladies and gentlemen, what I am alluding to is the need to harmonize states' internal mechanisms. This could possibly require a review of legislation, a review of procedures and structures to improve cooperation and efficiency. It also calls for the establishment of multi-agency forums to deal specifically with aviation safety and security threats, risks, and vulnerabilities, but also benefits that are brought about by RPAS operations. The fourth point relates to identification and classification of RPAS. If we are to manage RPAS operations as states and between states, we need to be able to clearly classify the various forms of RPAS and their operations. Most importantly, there should be easier identification of RPAS, both in terms of local and international operations. Most importantly, there should be easy identification by other operators, whether during operations or not. If we are unable to identify simple things like ownership, capacity, and purpose of operations, we will be opening a very wide window of opportunity for illicit operations that poses safety and security risks. So the takeaway point is that states should have capacity to identify and monitor RPAS operating in their own airspace. Having said that, indiscriminate clampdown on operations is neither a solution, as RPAS functionalities and spin-offs are immense, and hence the sector must be supported in every possible way. After all, we have no choice. The last point relates to drumming of citizen support. Our concerns and fears around RPAS operations, which in my view are outnumbered by benefits, will be minimized only when regulators develop smart regulations and there is an entrenched culture of rule of law among RPAS manufacturers, owners, and users, including service recipients. As mentioned earlier, the ultimate stakeholders that must comply with regulations do not consist only of typical aviators as we have known them over the years. The reality is that just like with airline passengers, any member of society can become an RPAS user overnight. The point that I would like to propose is that we have to go on a massive educational drive led through the media so that all of society is aware of the benefits and potential risks of RPAS. As societies, we manage to do that. Think of cars and road usage. We teach kids about the basics of the rules of the road. Basic stuff such as, the rules that must be observed if one is to cross a road, and other rules. We teach them at an early age. Shouldn't we do the same now that we have RPAS in our midst? I think it should start from there. So as I conclude, I wish to reiterate the importance of collaboration and cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, what I mean is that in our quest to harmonize our approach as we integrate RPAS, we should not overlook the fact that each state has thus far walked its own path with varying degrees of successes and difficulties. So forums such as this and many others should serve as a platform to consolidate lessons learned thus far and to continue to find means to seamlessly integrate this technology that is here to stay. As we do so, we also need to work together as states so that no state is left behind. Regular feedback is required as this sector is moving at a lightning fast pace. States, and particularly civil aviation administrators, should go into history as enablers and not inhibitors of this exciting chapter of human evolution. It can be done. We have proven it before, and I am very optimistic that as we continue with dialogue and come up with practical approaches, what may seem as a challenge today will be our collective success tomorrow. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Khoza. I particularly enjoyed the call to action to educate communities that we work with and colleagues and partners. Now we're ready for our first session of the day, which will examine how the unique characteristics of RPAS, which differ from manned aviation, bring unique challenges for operators seeking to accomplish the gradual transition from accommodation to integration. I've been looking forward to this session for a few weeks now. Our moderator today is Mr. Michael Gadd. He has over 35 years of experience in system safety, aircraft certification, cybersecurity, and airworthiness. Before joining Altitude Angel in 2018 as head of international regulatory affairs, Mr. Gadd was policy lead for UAS at the Civil Aviation Authority of the United Kingdom. He's also served as a project certification manager at the European Aviation Safety Agency, EASA. And throughout his career, Mike has supported many activities with EASA, but also Yaris and EuroK. He is also no stranger to ICAO, having served as both Vice Chair and Chair of the ICAO RPAS panel. Thank you, Mike, for leading us through this important topic, and I'll invite you to come up now, as well as the speakers for the next session, so we can get started. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the rather detailed career history. And so, respected guests, ladies, gentlemen, and friends, I am honored to be invited back to support ICAO at this conference and to be in China once again. Yesterday, we have seen and heard many excellent presentations and some fantastic discussions. And this morning, on this panel, we have another fantastic team to my left, who I believe will meet and exceed your expectations after yesterday. So, no challenge there, team. I also think you will see from the presentations some of the range of operations and the approaches that are being taken today, and where RPAS and unmanned aircraft systems will be taking us into the future. I'd also take this short opportunity to, having heard many great sayings yesterday, to add one of my own. And that is one I learned from a first manager of mine, which was that opportunities are never missed or lost. Somebody else will always take them. So please take the opportunity to pose any questions that you have to the panel for later on after we have seen all of the presentations. So for our first presentation, I'm pleased to introduce Richard Eva. Richard is the RPAS Aviation Advisor for RPAS for Shell Aircraft, and has been involved with RPAS since he had some military operations with the Royal Australian Air Force in Afghanistan in 2010. He has brought his experience gained in that environment into the oil and gas environment, and was responsible for the establishment of Shell's first BVLOS program in Queensland, which started in late 2014. Through this experience, he has seen the disruptive powers of RPAS and how this can be realized by entire operational teams. And having seen the growth of RPAS globally, he is passionate about enabling safe and effective use of RPAS in operations, and is keen to ensure that the high standards applied to manned aviation can also be applied to RPAS. So, Richard, the floor is yours.
And if I can just get the buzzer to work. Here we go. Thank you very much for the introduction, Mike, and thank you, ICAO, for putting on an event such as this. It is really terrific to see the audience that we have here all working in a collegiate atmosphere to try and to enable where RPAS is today, but where it can go. As I'll discuss in my presentation, certainly it's an exciting time for us at Shell, and want to share some of that with you. And also to the city of Shengdao. I've never been in a facility like this, so to the city of Shengdao, thank you for hosting. It is, a real privilege to be here. So with that being said, I'll get into the presentation. Currently, RPAS in Shell. Shell is a global organisation, as everyone knows. We operate in over 80 countries around the world. In each of those countries, we have some form of RPAS use. So we're definitely a large user of RPAS, but in saying that, we really have just started on the journey of RPAS. There's a lot for us to learn, a lot for us to do moving into the future to really harness the power of what we can do with this system. Majority of the assets that we do use RPAS for is predominantly around visual on-site use cases where we're doing facility inspections, flare tip inspections and so forth, taking that risky job away from a man, and then we can put an RPAS in that place where we're checking underneath offshore oil platforms and so forth. We don't need to put people in harm's way. We can use an RPAS to help us do that task. From a strategy perspective, Shell certainly has the commercialisation of technology as one of our key enablers to get Shell to where Shell wants to go. So RPAS is one of those key disruptive technologies. I'm really trying to find a good analogy for another technology that could be so disruptive to the way we do business. RPAS is a very exciting technology, so it's one that Shell has certainly focused on, and we're doing a lot within Shell to try and make sure that we can really harness and capture the opportunities that RPAS have. One of the topics I'll talk to today will be going through one of our beyond visual on-site cases that we've got in Australia. So in Australia, everyone knows Australia is a big country. With our asset there, QGC, essentially if you look at the diagram there on the right-hand side, you can see that asset covers roughly about the size of the UK. So we've got an operations team out there trying to look at 4,000 bits of asset in an area of over 30,000 square kilometres. The traditional ways of doing those inspections or the surveillance of those assets has really been people in four-wheel drives going out looking at those assets from a ground perspective, or using helicopters, fixed-wing aircraft to go out and do those inspections where we do pipeline inspections and fixed asset inspections. Those aircraft, though, when we've got people in those aircraft, have to fly at low altitude. And I think one key point here where Shell's trying to move risk away from manned flight into unmanned flight was really highlighted just last month, where a team doing a pipeline inspection in Canada were fatally injured in a recent incident just a month ago. So if we can find ways of putting unmanned aircraft where we've got manned aircraft to do those inspections, that's one thing that we're certainly very keen to explore. Also, the other part of it is when we started with RPAS in Queensland, we're trying to figure out how we can use all the data that comes in and how disruptive this would be to the business. And after operating there we've been operational now for about 2 years, I can truly say this has really changed the way that we've done business. It changes the way people operate on the ground. They've got far better situational awareness of what they do. They've got a better tool set to be able to do their job, so it can be safer and more efficient to do that job. Just going to take you through a couple of images so you can see what we can get from RPAS, and you don't need to listen to my voice all the time. So firstly, that's it's our field compressor station. So we've got about 30 of those within that tenement that you saw the photo of before. This is a macro view of that tenement, so what we had to do was make sure that we had fire breaks that were sufficient around that tenement in case bushfires came through. And if you notice just that small dot there, that's the type of thing that we can then start to zoom down to and start doing asset inspections from 3,000 feet slant angle away. At the moment, the altitude that image was taken at was 1,500 feet off the ground, but a 3,000 feet slant range. Just onto one of our well sites. So again, where before we used to have send someone in with a four-wheel drive to ensure that everything on that well site was okay, we can now start going around and start doing just isolated checks on that well site. So instead of a well site operator going through with their checklist out in the field in their four-wheel drive, we can do that checklist back in the control room. We did look at night operations as well, so that's just a photo there of some of the infrared sensing that we can do, but typically what we're doing at the moment is just sticking to the electro-optic sensors. So that being said, that's, Shell's a big user of RPAS. We've got a good beyond visual line of sight case. We're looking at more beyond visual line of sight cases, hopefully 2019, 2020. But just wanted to present some of the challenges that we see as a user, and I'm in the right environment to talk because I've got regulators and OEMs in this room. So certainly the first one is around privacy. Before we started the program in Queensland, the first thing we did was a social risk assessment. Then we did the aviation risk assessment. So we identified early that we needed to address issues such as privacy. In a tenement the size of the UK, we certainly have a fair few landholders that we fly over, so we had to make sure that we addressed their concerns. We had to make sure that they understood that we weren't looking in back windows, we weren't going to interfere with their privacy, that we were there just to look at our assets, so we had to come up with a way that we could air gap if we did catch any inadvertent private images. Shell does not get to see those images, so we've got a methodology to do that. We've also got a different regulatory environment now. We've got the GDPR that came out this year. So we've got some very stringent regulatory controls around privacy that we need to adhere to, and a big company like Shell has to be very, very robust in its privacy control. The other one is the amount of image product created. When you've got a beyond visual line of sight program, you're getting a lot of video, depending how you're capturing or what sensor type you're using. If you're using video, full motion video, or if you're using photogrammetry, you're still going to collect a lot of information. So you've got to figure out how you're going to sort that information, especially once you move into change detection. So where you get the air vehicle going around doing that routine around a well site, and then it can automatically pick up what the change was from the last time it went over that well site. Then that workflow, where does that go within your organisation? So we've gone through a couple of iterations of that, and now we've probably got a very robust way of dealing with all that information, so we can react to the information. The data security. So certainly you're going to have big stores of data, so making sure that that's stored in a secure place. If you're using cloud servers and so forth, how do you protect that cloud server so you know that that imagery is going to be safe? And then what type of assurance do you have on your data management protocols? And then image custody. So once you have an image and that image goes out to the workforce, how do you make sure that that image stays within the workforce? Or how do you make sure, firstly, images aren't going to get on Facebook, inadvertent images, or some type of social media? So you need to have quite a robust image custody process as well. From the regulatory side, certainly, as I said before, when we operate in 80 countries around the world, we find we're in some very different regulatory environments. So we could be operating in places that have no regulatory rules around drone use to other countries that have very stringent rules around use of drones. So really one of the challenges from a user point of view from Shell's perspective is seeing what harmonisation from a regulatory perspective can be achieved, and what can Shell do to help with our use cases. Next one is the beyond visual line of sight approvals. So we're very, very fortunate in Australia. We've got a proactive regulator, and I'm not saying that just because they're here, but we're very lucky we've got a low density, low complexity air environment that we operate in as well. But we've got several beyond visual line of sight programs that'll probably start to come into play next year and into 2020. So we'll really start to see beyond visual line of sight coming into play and really replicate what we've done in QGC and other assets around the world. From beyond visual line of sight, the next one's going to be automation. So where you may have a bit of equipment, a drone in a box type scenario, that could be on an oil platform, that could be at a facility, and it's pre-programmed to do a security fence check every morning, every night. Or you could have a combination where I'm talking about the multi-system approvals, where you might have a beyond visual line of sight system that goes out, and because of the change detection that's happening on board, it detects a problem. Then it sends a signal down to a drone in the box. That drone in the box goes out and can do a far more detailed survey. Drone in the box comes back to its charging pad, sends the data into the control room. So we're getting into a place where we're looking at a whole range of system tools to help us do our job more effectively. The other one from the multi-system as well, one thing that we're looking at, and it was great to hear Captain Mills talk about what UPS is doing. Certainly one of the things we're looking at doing is, because we've got an asset that's spread far away, if we find that there's a problem on one of our sites and we need to send equipment to that site as well as an operator to that site, the operator gets retasked automatically. They get an iPad in front of them, they'll be retasked, but their spare parts, how does that get delivered? So looking at delivery tools from a warehouse facility into our field. So certainly looking at a whole range of systems there that will all work in conjunction with each other. And the last one's an interesting one. Certainly a lot of people in the room, we're looking at RPAS use from a positive perspective, but there's certain elements around the world who look at RPAS for other means. So looking at counter RPAS, certainly where we've got some critical infrastructure, we've got ships that sail in pirate waters, we've got some critical point infrastructure that we want to make sure we can protect. Their critical infrastructure for the state. So we need to see what we can do from a regulatory perspective there to allow some counter RPAS use. To the OEMs. So certainly we've seen some very good products released, and it's a dynamic market. We're seeing exponential growth in different types of drones, RPASs. The key ones here from the user perspective, firstly we need to make sure that we've got the right airspace situational awareness technology, that sense and avoid technology, whether that be on board the aircraft or whether that be ground-based systems that help the ground control station understand what's in that airspace. We need to make sure we've got some robust situational awareness, and we need to see that continually improve. We've got some very good systems now, but we can see where that's going, and would like to encourage the OEMs to still keep working on sense and avoid. We've got to get beyond equivalence from manned cockpits. For airworthiness, I know we've spoken about this a couple of times before yesterday, so where does certification end up? Certainly from the user perspective, if we present a use case to a regulator and we've got a bit of equipment that's gone through a certification process, the approval process then is a lot easier from our perspective. So from a user perspective, especially when we're looking at systems that operate in beyond visual line of sight, we're very keen to see airworthiness certification processes come to play. Some of the environments we operate in, so if we're operating in say an offshore oil rig, we're going to be in situations where you'll be in a GPS degraded environment, you'll have RF disruption, you'll have heavy magnetic disruption, so ensuring that the tools that you provide to us can operate in that type of environment is critical. We've certainly had some instances on some offshore oil rigs where some tools were used out there that were not capable of doing or operating within that environment. So keen to see the OEMs step up and see if they can provide better equipment for us to use there. Sensor technology. Really there's methane, and the big one for us is methane. There's methane sensors out there, but doing methane from distance, doing methane detection from about 3,000 feet, that's what we're really looking for. If anyone can do that, I'd be very happy to talk to them outside during coffee break, but it's a key one for us, especially Shell signed up to the Paris Accord, so we're very keen to make sure we've got a very good handle on what our methane emissions are throughout the world. Industry involvement. I think it's very important to get regulators and OEMs really coming into some of the industry forums that we have, the oil and gas forums, just so you can really see what the use cases are. The more we can talk, and the more we can talk about our use cases, the better the OEMs can provide tools so we can actually undertake the task from a technology perspective, but also from the regulators, so the regulators can see what we're trying to do and how the use of RPAS makes our life safer and more efficient. So we're very keen to explore what we can do to further that. And again, to the OEMs, what else is out there from a counter RPAS perspective that an OEM can provide from a technology perspective? So in conclusion, certainly RPAS is an exciting, disruptive technology. Shell's very much on board with the journey of RPAS. We've just started that journey, but talking to those in the room and hearing some of the discussions so far, I've been very excited and certainly keen to meet a lot more of you to see what we can do to move RPAS from where it is today to where it is in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Now, our second panel member is Mildred, and I'll apologize for mispronouncing your surname, but I think it's Troegeler. And Mildred was named as Director of Global Airspace Integration for the recently established Innovation Division, Boeing Next, that will advance the company's vision for the future commercial mobility programs. Before joining Boeing, she served as a general manager of technical and operations at the Association of European Airlines and gained experience in the field of space policy, working with the United Nations Committee for Peaceful Use of Outer Space and as a representative of the German Aerospace Center. She's a lawyer by training, and with that, I would ask her to take the floor for her presentation.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today and to address such a distinguished audience. So Boeing Next is a new division of the Boeing company, has recently been established and will help to advance UTM, next generation travel, and to evolve the transportation ecosystem. We will leverage existing R&D activities across the company and investments in areas such as autonomous flights and advanced propulsion to create new transportation solutions of the future. The use of UAS are changing the world quickly. It wasn't long ago that we were actually here talking about how UAS might be used at some point in aerial photography or in inspections, and now all of these operations are almost happening on a daily basis. The future is only limited by our imaginations. Package delivery is already on the horizon, and highly automated human transport isn't far behind it. Over time, the use of UAS in our everyday life will have a huge impact on society and will also ultimately influence public acceptance. Look how UAS are playing a larger role in natural disasters. Our subsidiary, In Situ, is operating its Scan Eagle this summer to help firefighters on wildfire in Oregon, providing information for fire suppression activities via its data collection, analysis, and delivery capabilities. In the wake of Hurricane Harvey, In Situ also put its aerial remote sensing service professionals to work on supporting the Houston area's disaster recovery efforts. Participating in emergency response efforts such as search and rescue, damage, pollution, and critical infrastructure assessment, In Situ launched and conducted beyond visual line of sight operations in the Houston area. Without any doubt, UAS technology has already a real presence in our life. And we are having conversations today about in a day of a not too distant future when a UAS taxi may pick us up from the airport, may lift us above rush hour traffic in a dense metropolitan area in order to get us to our meeting on time across town. Certainly there's a lot that needs to be done between here and there. And the question we need to address is, what are the challenges that we need to tackle to facilitate the gradual transition of accommodation to integration of UAS? Safety always comes first. Boeing has a reputation of safety, trust, and assurance. And its reputation is built on long-standing collaboration with aviation safety authorities across the globe. As we continue the evolution of these systems from piloted to remotely piloted to fully autonomous, our dedication to safety and collaboration will continue, because the collaboration with regulators is key. Ultimately, regulations on autonomous vehicles and the integration into airspace will pace adoption of these emerging technologies and development of vehicles. So Boeing has more than a century of experience in safely integrating and introducing these new technologies and vehicles. And we need to build on this experience that we are having in robust development processes, in testing, and how to build a strong safety case to introduce this new frontier of travel and transportation. We believe that the introduction of autonomy will be evolutionary to ensure that at all times we keep safety at the forefront of our work. It will be evolutionary in the level of autonomy, but also in the application of autonomy. Commercial aviation is already highly automated. For example, we have autoflight, autoland, trust management, navigation, just to name a few. And this has allowed for more predicted air traffic management, improved connectivity. We could open new city pairs, and overall society has benefited from this development. Commercial aviation will build on this automation to continue to make the job of the crew less complex, which ultimately then improves also the level of safety and the comfort of the crew. The system we know today as autonomous systems are in fact remotely piloted. This is another form of automation that will continue to evolve into allowing a pilot and an operator to expand from the control of a single aircraft to the simultaneous control of multiple aircraft. And the feasibility of this one made possible by technology that offloads work from an operator to a machine to ensure it's done safely at all times. Full autonomy is actually a critical enabler of safety, especially with the future vision of autonomous systems being used in logistics to move packages, not only in last mile application, but also next to last mile applications. When systems like this will become common in our lives is when autonomy will help to ensure that they can detect hazards in the environment of the system, or where we can make sure that the use of onboard intelligence will actually lead to the same proper decision like a human operator would, or even an improved level of safety. We feel that those days are well ahead of us, and they likely are, but industry is pushing technology developments to make this future vision a reality. For example, Boeing Horizon X portfolio company, Near Earth Autonomy, in partnership with Aurora, completed a program to unman a helicopter and to deliver perception and decision-making as would be expected of a human operator. And Boeing is working to mature autonomous technology today on demonstration programs like this one called ACAS and other technical tech demonstrators. To support these advancements, we have recently opened a 100 square foot autonomy center on the campus of MIT, and we are investing and partnering with untraditional players, startups like Near Earth Autonomy, but also Spark Cognition, Madanet, and Fortem, and we are spearheading real-world application through prototype programs like the Cargo Air Vehicle program. Beyond the world of experimentation, Boeing is working with the portfolio company Matenet to help scale its small autonomy system used to move high-priority healthcare packages in urban areas. And this is a good example because we are here starting with small systems. So we start with a move of 5 kilograms over 10 kilometers to start understanding and to start managing the risk associated with the deployment of this technology while still capturing the promise that these tools hold. Small cargo movements between hubs is already possible today, and it will grow to be a routine in the coming years. Beyond small cargo movements, we also plan as a next frontier to moving 100 to 200 kilograms in remote areas to offload unsafe work to machines. And as the previous example of Shell, this is an important field of activities that ultimately also benefits society. It's important that we take a crawl, walk, run approach by evolving the applications and the scale of autonomous systems to safely and responsibly deploy technology to make the world more connected, safer, and more efficient. One of the biggest challenges that was already mentioned in today's keynote speech for regulators is to keep pace of the technology development, which breaks our norms and which might require a different approach to rulemaking. Because in the field of UAS, new products are introduced and developed over a short period of time compared to manned aviation. And we are pleased to see that ICAO is stepping up to these challenges. ICAO will play a crucial role to pave the road for the development of complementary, risk-based and performance-based rules and standards on RPAS worldwide, and thereby prevent unnecessary burdens for industry and ultimately the regulators. Business won't be able to invest in new technology and bring them to the market without having a predictable regulatory framework in place. Boeing is committed to supporting ICAO through our works on various technical committees, including the RPAS panel, and we strive to speak with one industry voice through ICCAIA. We welcome the progress that was made by the RPAS panel to update the RPAS manual, and we see the development of the first standards and recommended practice on RPAS as a milestone to facilitate the safe, secure, and efficient integration of remotely piloted aircraft systems in non-segregated airspace and aerodromes. We appreciate ICAO's enduring commitment to advance the global aviation system, and we think that as industry we have the responsibility to support regulators to have the right capabilities and experts to make well-informed decisions. Echoing the words of our founder, William Boeing, we are all pioneers in this new endeavor, and our problems are so new and unusual that it behoves no one to dismiss any novel idea with a statement, "It can't be done." Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mildred. And for our next presentation, I welcome to the stand Mr. George Lee, who is the Group Vice President of SF Express and Chairman of Fonair Company Limited. Please.
Good morning, friends, and I'm very honored to be invited to make a presentation here. And the organizer encouraged me to make my presentation in English. I've done the rehearsal. I found that I can very easily, smoothly complete my presentation in Chinese in 10 minutes. If in English, I may need 20-25 minutes. So most importantly, to make my points correctly expressed, I'm going to make my presentation in Chinese. Apologies for those friends who cannot understand Chinese here. 应该这边还有一个中文的一个 PPT 吧 ？There should be a Chinese version of a PPT. No? Okay. So it's perfect. So English presentation and Chinese speech. Okay. 首先我很快的介绍一下顺丰啊，就是顺丰是什么？我们为什么需要这个货运无人机？现在我们的这个已经做了一些什么工作？那顺丰是中国这个最大的CEP company 啊，就是快递物流企业by revenue 啊。那去年我们的整个的 revenue 是103亿美元，今年上半年呢，因为强劲的市场需求，我们上半年呢整个的 revenue 增长了32%同比。去年我们总共处理了30亿个包裹，今年上半年呢已经处理了20亿，就是每个工作日啊平均是有1500万个包裹，40万员工。那我们整个的这个一个 Express Service， 我们的快递覆盖53个国家和地区，国际小包就是 e-commerce 覆盖大概是225个国家和地区。因为昨天我们的 UPS Friends 也在这边讲，我们有这个战略合作和这个 UPS， 就是 UPS 帮助我们在美国还有一些其他国家做这个末端的配送。我们为什么需要这个物流无人机啊？就首先呢，顺丰跟大多数的中国的 CEP 这个公司不一样，就是我们是一个以 B2B 为主的一个公司，我们70%的货物基本上都是 B2B。那它的特点就是需要端到端，而且是双向。那它很重要，另外很重要一个特点就是说，随着整个经济的这个进步啊，这个制造业进步，我们更多的要去看这个，比方说供应链物流、制造物流，包括这个售后，就是 after service、spare parts 物流，所有的这些东西呢，都是需要非常有效、快速的这个物流方式。就是那 B2B 呢更重视速度、可靠性和安全。那和 B2C 很大的不同就是 B2C 呢，随着大数据的这个应用呢，这个电商会越来越把货物通过大数据分析贴近这个消费者，就是放在仓库里面。所以说他们可能是我们叫集收散派，就是集中从 warehouse 里面收货，然后散派到这个 doorstep。他们更加重视这个经济和最后1公里。所以说，可能从无人机的发展来讲，也就是为什么顺丰更重视支线这种大型的物流无人机，而电商呢会更重视末端的配送。那因为我们这个作为以 B2B 为主的这个物流企业，所以说我们这个在2009年成立了我们自己的航空公司。那到目前呢，到现在为止呢，我们整个机队是有62架。是包括47架自有飞机，就是以波音767、757和737为主。另外，这个租了15架其他航空公司的这个全货机。另外，我们还有2架在这个淘宝上竞拍到的2架747啊，会在11月和明年1月份投入使用，就是对整个双11，还有对这个圣诞节季节和中国春节。那我们去年整个的货运量是111万吨。那整个占了中国国内货量的23%，但是呢，我们也仅仅覆盖到了，就是用我们的全副货机，在去年年底呢，仅仅覆盖到了39个城市，就是中国的1、2线城市 ，first tier、second tier cities in China。那在中国呢，还有250个大的城市，我们叫地级市，2800个县级市和县，还有4万个乡。是没有合适的航空交通工具来覆盖的。我们去年这110万吨货里面，实际上也只有55%是通过我们的全货机运输的，剩下45%是通过客机的辅舱，就是 passenger cargo belly。说明什么呢？说明一个是需求正在逐步的增长，需要 更加合适的这个货机，也另外一方面呢，可能现在没有合适的货机或者机场，所以使得我们对向西向下，像中国一些还不基础设施不发达地区，缺少合适的这个运输供给。那如何解决这个问题呢？就是首先可能大家知道，就是这是一个中国的国家重点项目，就是我们跟湖北省政府在中国中部正在建造一个顺丰的一个航空货运枢纽，我们叫鄂州 Super Hub。这个枢纽呢是预计是2021年建成，那它是全世界第4个专门的大型的这个枢纽另外3个大家都了解有 Memphis for FedEx、Louisville for UPS，还有一个好像在 Leipzig， 在德国是给 DHL。那这个建成呢，就是我们预计这个90%的中国的 GDP 可以在2个小时的这个干线飞机的这个航程之内。那到2022年呢，预计顺丰的大型的这个货机就是 Boeing 767 or equivalent， 我们可以应该超过这个100架。这个图是我们的一个未来的一个针对 B2B 和整个中国经济发展的一个3级的一个航空运输网络，我们叫 Three Tiers Network Aviation Network。它的目的呢，就是我们希望，当然这个和技术和规章相配合我们希望在2022年能够实现中国端到端，就是 B2B business 端到端，在县一级36小时可以送达。实际上，顺丰现在的业务，我们有40%可以在主要城市，就是 first tier、second tier cities， 我们可以次晨达。但是随着整个中国经济的向西向下，随着整个向内地迁移，和随着整个供给侧改革，包括 just-in-time inventory 包括 manufacture logistics， 包括这个农副产品这个上行，所以说呢，我们需要铺设这么一个网络。那中间这个红的呢，就是我们的在湖北鄂州的 Super Hub。它主要是连接国际网点和国内的主要的，我们是叫 Regional Hub。那我们未来顺丰航空的有人飞机呢，主要是做这种 trunk 干线飞行和主要大的 Regional Hub 之间或者大的城市之间，如果货量这个足够装1架货机的这个飞行。那从这个 Regional Hub 到 City Hub， 那我们是未来主要要靠这个大型的物流无人机。我们做了这个分析我是因为我是顺丰航空的第1任这个总裁和这个 founder， 在我们成立了顺丰航空以后呢，我们就开始构思这个区域的网络。我们当时评估了这个通航 General Aviation， 但是我们认为不可行。当时有很多原因其中一个非常重要的原因就是你只要放1个人在飞机上，它的整个的 cost 我们就不可以 afford。举个例子实际上未来的 feeder 和 last mile 是跟地面交通去竞争的。那我们有一些 criteria 就是它整个的成本不能高于地面30%，而节省的时间应该超过4个小时。只有在这种情况下 ，feeder、cargo、UAV 可能才有它的这个应用的场景。就是中国呢有70%还是山区还是这个不发达地区，所以说我们呢在构建这个3G 网络在支线和末端的时候呢，我们也是考虑中国主要的西部地区和山区。那在中国的东部地区呢，主要还是靠地面交通，尤其是比较发达的高速公路网。那最后1公里呢，就是我们会靠可能更小的这个无人机就是 last mile to a doorsteps。那当然可能近期呢还是到我们的一个 business point 或者是一些 agent， 比方说像学校到什么东西，由他们再送到这个最终客户家里头。我们可以看到未来可能10年20年we don't know 那可能最后的包裹可能通过其他的方式直接送到这个消费者手里面。说这个是我们构建的一个3G 网络。那我们保守估计，基于顺丰现在业务发展和整个中国的经济情况，就是 feeder 这一级的 cargo UAV， 就是我们通常来讲是这个 payload 是500公斤到3吨，航行距离是300公里到1500公里。顺丰自己在未来10年大概比较保守的估计是5000架，还没有包括末端，比方说 VTOL 垂直起降的飞机和最后 last mile 的飞机，那个可能就是上万级的水平。 说这个是有非常巨大的需求和非常丰富的场景。为什么无人机呢？很简单的讲，便宜 ，cargo friendly， 对吧？就是首先呢，因为只要没有人在上面，有大量的这个它的整个的这个飞机的一些，不管是从设计到运行，就有很大的不同。你比方说，因为它不需要生命保障系统，不需要增压啊，就是这个，因为不需要增压，甚至连飞机的结构都可以进行做很大的调整，可以节省大量的空间装货。我们估计整个这些东西下来，可以多出来30%的这个重量是放在货上。另外呢，也可以，因为它没有人在早期呢，我们也可以做一些这个，比方说在这个运行方面，在一些应急程序，甚至也可以做一些特殊的处理。比方说，我们可以安排一些应急场景，甚至自毁或者加伞，来处置一些特殊情况，尤其是在早期，在这个创新和技术进步探索的这个阶段。那因为没有人呢，那整个的飞机呢也更加可以做的这个适合于运货。比方说前后端可以做门，甚至可以做这个一个方箱的，我们叫它 shoes box， 可以 plug in plug out， 直接就是把这个飞机和装卸货进行分离。而且可以运不同的货，比如危险品啊、液体啊、医爆或者其他有味道的一些产品都可以运啊。因为也没有人在上面，我们也可以牺牲它的一些舒适性。或者长时间啊，我们不需要在上面装这个 toilet， 对吧？就是类似这种东西。所有的下来，我们预计啊，在3个方面：一个是技术的进步，一个是规章逐步的允许，再一个在运行程序上的优化。我们预计在10年的时间之内，整个的这个 cost 从比现在有人的这个通用飞机会减少60%到70%，就是光飞行员人这一项。就节省25%，为什么？因为很简单，现在第一个是飞行员，这个一架飞机需要很多飞行员，以后未来是基于 automation， 可能1-2个这个 operator 可以 control 20个架飞机，也不需要这些人通勤、住旅馆等等等等这些东西啊，甚至可以降低它的 license， 我们不需要做这个商照，这个或者是这个license 等级，甚至可以到就是 operator， 开个玩笑，就是打游戏比较好的人啊。再加上对航空的理解，可能都未来会成为这个 operator， 因为未来的技术应该是基于 automation， 而不是基于人的一些 interference。今天ICAO在这边啊，也讲一下，全世界可能都有这种场景啊。上周我给大家看这个图，有一个这个荷兰的朋友纠正我啊，说那个 tulip 不应该长在南非，应该长在荷兰啊。OK， 我说我回去把它挪到上面去。OK， 确实，实际上现在顺丰也在东南亚一些国家，包括印尼啊，包括缅甸这些这个基础设施欠发达地区呢，也在做一些这种合作。在这些地方呢，也有非常强的需求。比方说像印尼有17000个岛屿啊，其中4-5千个是住人的。那这种很 isolated 这种location 啊，这种越水是对这种物流无人机是有极强的需求的。那我们认为啊，这个物流无人机可能会成为一个这个工业级无人机商业化和规章制定的一个先驱。我们觉得它应该是个 pioneer。为什么呢？实际上任何事情都是从简到难，从这个低风险向高风险。那物流无人机呢是具备这种特点。就首先实际上它是需要跨区域，就是 cross country， 需要这个跨区域飞行的。说它是和整个的民航的规则是紧密相连的，就是可能一开始在隔离空域里面，或者是时间隔离啊，这个比方说在一些通用机场或者运输机场，或者是在空间隔离，那它不是说像农林质保，它可能没有对这个 regulation 或者对整个的 integration of airspace 有这么大的这个复杂性。那所以说，本身货运无人机就是一个很好的试验场景，但是它同时又具备着任务比较简单，对吧？它很重要的一个特点，它是途中没有任务，就是 actually is point to point， no task on the way， no task on routine。说这样呢，可以很好的预先设置航道，包括我们叫 tunnel space。 实际上，甚至在一些很敏感的问题上，到底是低空还是高空，我们都可以回避这些问题，因为我们直接是在一个空域里面飞行，就是我们不会去动到，哎，我们到底低空、高空飞到多少？另外呢，就是因为它没有人，我们在一些应急程序在各方面呢都可以很好的做试点，再加上有巨大的场景需求，所以说呢，它是高频的一个飞行，是个刚需，它又具备条件去。怎么讲啊？就是 fly enough hours to accumulate adequate data to support future regulation。因为现在不管是基于加热还是基于一些规章制定啊，因为毕竟把无人机作为一个创新，如果它还是按照以往的方式来做的话，比方说先做这个取证 TC， 再去来进入到运行的话，可能就会痛失一些机会。所以呢，这样呢，如果基于一些特殊的场景和特殊的风险评估，去进行尝试。不断积累数据，来为未来的规章去提供足够的依据，这也是个非常好的尝试，对吧？我们可以在预先设定的这个航道，天上没有飞机，地上没有固定居民，我们避开一些比较敏感的问题。一般现在我们一讲无人机，就有3大顾虑啊，就是国家安全、这个公众安全，还有个人隐私，就是 national security、public safety and individual privacy。我觉得这个 cargo 这个飞机，首先这个 individual privacy 应该不是它的 concern， 我们可以现在回避这个啊。那如果我们事先做好这种航路的预测，实际上这种 public security 也可以极大的减少，它没有人在飞机上。那通过一些特殊的一些航路设计啊，可以避免对第三方的伤害。那可能更大的是防止飞机劫持，对这个国家的这个安全 national security 呢做出来一些比较好的保障。那这样就可以推入尝试。所以说在这边呢是跟我们业界包括 ICAO 在讲啊，就是说如果我们想在工业级无人机做一些大胆的尝试的话，我们认为物流无人机在这个级别是一个非常好的尝试。那个 last mile 太小，我们那个大个的又太那个像Boeing 777啊，我们刚才那个Boeing aircraft 那个可能有太大，那这个是个非常好的一个尝试啊。那看一下这个，顺丰到现在做了什么？我觉得这个可能也是我们的一些这个实践啊，可能几个比较重大的 milestone 吧。就是去年我们连续飞了3款大型的支线物流无人机，有些是从现有的这个通航改装的，有的是完全重新开始设计啊。那实际上上个月我们又飞了一款叶载，也是1.5吨的一个。飞机是从一个现代通用的航空改过来的，这是就说实际上这些飞机呢，我们现在已经开始做一些演示验证和这个测试飞行，我觉得这是一个。另外还有一个很重要的就是我们实际上去年呢做了跟这个华为和中国移动 China Mobile 做了一些这个应急物流，因为中国可能大家知道中国的整个的这个基站啊，就是 base station tower， 中国有300万个。在全国 ，you never know 哪一个会在什么时候哪一个零件坏掉，所以说他们在华为和中国移动在做备件储备的时候非常困难，所以说他们希望就是 centralized warehouse and service center very quick delivery service 把这个 components 送过去，所以说从这种我们去年也是做了一个非常成功的这么一个演示，所以说也验证这个场景在中国有很大的需求。还有很重要的一点就是，今年中国民航以其创新的精神和负责任的态度，给了顺丰末端无人机 AOC 这个 Trial AOC 和 Business License。我觉得可能这是世界上是第一家啊，就是我就在这边也感谢这个监管当局，感谢 CEC， 就是在没有上位法、没有相关规章的情况下，中国民航本着要创新和扶持这个产业的这个基本理念，依照121对顺丰我们在江西南康700平方公里、20万人口以上的这么一个区域，进行了末端无人机的这个演示验证和这个整个的审定，审了我们的所有的手册，包括非常严格的做了这个文文相符啊和文实相符的审核，最后呢给了我们这个 Trial AOC 和这个 Business License。这是一个创举。 那另外还有就是我们跟华为和这个四川 Mobile 在做这个4.5G 和5G 的这个蜂窝网。那现在正在为顺丰我们未来的这个尝试的网络去铺设一个 corridor， 一个通讯的 corridor， 就是给我们做这种利用现有的这个网络来支撑未来的这个通信。我们也跟中电科54所签了一个协议，就是做通用的地面的地面站，就是不是军用的，而是通用的，就相当于有 mobile phone 也要有地面站一样，也是在做这个。那最后呢，是我们的一些想法对 regulation 啊，这个图看起来比较忙啊，我不会一项一项讲，但是实际上我想讲的就是说，现在在无人机规章的制定方面呢，如果想做一个普世的一个规章，我认为现在时间还太早，也不具备这个条件啊。那反而我们在一些特殊场景，针对一些特殊的应用，来这个积累数据，再来我们在一些场景上，那反而有可能做一些突破，逐步的由一些特殊的一些场景，逐步的向普世的这个规章啊，实际上也永远没有普世的，向这个方向发展。那整个的这个呢，实际上是从这个 Jairus 那个图上过来的啊。我们看到中间那个就是 Working Group 7， 它是说这个概念的啊，我们觉得实际上在这个组它应该有一个愿景，它应该看到未来物流无人机。因为我在这边啊，没有办法讲其他的这个 application 啊，因为我们更 focus 在物流方面。我觉得我们应该看到物流未来的愿景，并且呢是设计好它的道路。那Working Group 6就是那个 Safety and Risk Management 呢，我觉得它是应该提供一个平台和方法论，把另外5个工作组所形成的技术和规章，通过这个方法论，沿着这个路径往最终的 mission 去进步。那这是我们感觉的，就是这个 framework 我认为还是非常好的，就是指引我们在逐步的完善。当然它有它的缺陷啊，它整个的 risk management 主要还是对第三方，实际上对我们 operator 现在这个说的还比较少啊。但是我想讲的是，安全对 operator 也很重要啊。作为一个 business company， 我不能经常有这个很大的这个事故。那这里头举几个例子啊，就是比方说在和传统不同的是，我们觉得基于 SORA 的这种 approach， 它好在就是说我们和传统的不一样，就是传统可能为了能够拿到 AOC， 我们必须有很好的 TC。但是现在在这个快速发展的情况下呢，如果我们把大量的时间放在一些适航，放在一些以往的规则上呢，可能会就是减慢这个东西啊。我们觉得可能还是基于特殊场景的风险，让它先去飞，积累数据，最后是来制定规章。我认为规章是必须的。那在飞行员在这个 operator 的 license 这个级别方面呢，我觉得可能要做一些重大的一些调整，因为比方说未来它是不是需要什么样的 license？ 因为未来更多的依靠这个 automation 啊。在这个通信标准方面，这个是非常需要这个 regulator 就监管当局出来制定这个标准，包括 UTM 或者 ATM 和 UAV 和 AOC 的之间的这个通讯非常重要。到底是我们直接跟这个 ATM 跟 UAV 通信 relay 到地面，还是直接跟地面通信？包括这个 communication protocol C2 的 standard 和这个反接制这个安全的一些东西。那我们也在跟这个中国民航在合作啊，在制定这些标准。东西太多我就不多讲了。It's a long journey， 这是可能10年的事情啊。就是我们虽然有很多想法，但是我们 always put safety and security as our highest priority， 所以这个是没有疑问的啊。我本人也是从传统航空，就是运输航空到这个无人机，所以说我们永远把这个放在第一位。但是呢，我们非常愿意积极的这个和全世界各国政府、国际组织、机构，在针对不同的场景呢，来完善这个无人机技术和尝试不同的场景。我们也基于现实情况下，开展运输无人机的探讨，采取特定的这个风险评估的方案，就是 SORA， 来替代一些比方说现有的标准，在未来实际运行的基础上，逐步完善这个民用物流无人机的适航运行标准体系，促进物流无人机和乃至整个无人机事业的发展。好，谢谢大家 ，Thank you very much。
is from Marzio. And Marzio graduated in aeronautical engineering and works in Leonardo Helicopters, which was formerly Augusta Westland, based in Italy. He has worked in different technical areas, from structural to flight mechanical fields, and was involved for many years in the preliminary design activity. And he assumed the role of head of flight mechanics and mission and requirements analysis offices. From January 2007, he is the Airworthiness Coordinator in Leonardo Helicopters for RPAS programs. With a target to follow the development and evaluation of civil and military rules. His experience in the UAS and RPAS field started in 2002, when he was involved in a Cape Con program, which is a European research project. He also covers the role of liaison with engineering with PZL Swidnik, which is a Polish company that was now part of Leonardo. So, Marzio, the floor is yours.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mike, for your presentation, and thank you to ICAO and the Sichuan Provincial Administration to permit me to attend this very important symposium. Leonardo is a global high-tech company, and one of the key actors in the aerospace defense and security worldwide. Leonardo is involved a key player in RPAS in a different program. The fixed wing mainly is involved in is a property of free project like the Skyway, that is the Male class technology demonstrator platform. The Falco Evo is the tactical US family to support different mission equipment, most of them produced directly by Leonardo to perform the mission, Daystar mission. And is involved also in produce the mini UAV to delivering the situational airworthiness in network interoperability. Leonardo is involved also in a development project, mainly in two projects. One is Neuron, a new program for the new stealth unmanned combat aircraft, and the second one is the improvement of the Male class to improve the endurance for high-star mission. It also is provider to the ground control station and mission system and sensor to the project, the Piaggio project P1HH. Leonardo Helicopter Division is involved in two main programs. The first one is AW Hero, designed and developed by Sistemi Dinamici, that is the company controlled by Leonardo. The maximum takeoff weight of this aircraft is 205 kilos. And the second one is the SW4 Solo, developed by an extinction certified helicopter with the possibility to be optionally piloted. This helicopter has a maximum takeoff weight is 1,800 kilos, and the basic helicopter is, has been designed and produced by the Swidnik, a Polish company acquired by Leonardo in 2010. On AW Hero, we can install a lot of mission payload, like the electro-optical infrared camera, AES for maritime mission, LiDAR system, the SAR hyperspectral camera, comms relay, electronic support measure, and maritime radar. You can see that most of them are produced directly by Leonardo. With this type of mission equipment, With this type of mission equipment, AWE can perform a lot of mission profile, mainly in firefighting support to make the fire risk assessment mapping or surveillance, or to perform day-night mapping evolution, but also to support the firefighter for their activity. Other activity that can perform is the normal surveillance as assessment of the natural disaster, pollution damage assessment, critical infrastructure assessment, pipeline monitoring, and search and rescue activity in land and maritime environment. As the before solo RPAS OPH, the scope of this program is to develop a medium-sized helicopter, optional pilot helicopter, to demonstrate the remote pilot technology capability, to demonstrate also the operational mission capability in simulated but also in real environment, and then at the end, of course, to industrialize the prototype and to launch on the market. Taking into account this characteristic in terms of the dimension of the helicopter, you can see that a picture that is seen in the screen. We can install a lot of equipment in the same time. An example, we have the maritime mission configuration in which we installed the 13-inch electro-optical infrared camera and the maritime radar, and also on the skid, the ESM electronic support measurement, and also the automatic system identification. The onboard data link, they permit to share the information not only on the ground control station, but also to other stations on ground and in fly, to permit the interoperability with the different platforms. The above rotorcraft RPAS, but mainly with SW4, we perform many experimental demonstrations and the activity in areas with low density population. The first application to have the permit to fly was presented in 2012 in EASA and ULC, that is the Polish Aeronautical Authority, in order to fly with the configuration RPAS but with the safety pilot on board. While to the first application, to have the permit to fly, to carry out the RPAS fly without a safety pilot on board, was presented to INAC on the third quarter of 2016, with the request to receive the permit to fly under the Annex 2, like experimental helicopter, in accordance with also the Italian rules. The RPAS system safety objective were consistent with the guideline provided by the JARUS Working Group 6, Safety and Risk Assessment for the RPAS Class 27, with a complexity level 2. Also, a technical report assessing the risk of the flight test activity under the area flown on Grattaglie test range has been produced and discussed with the Italian authorities INAC. This activity was, and the documentation and discussion was prepared in accordance with INAC guideline that was delivered at the beginning of 2017. Many demonstration activity have been performed with the solo, and like the ISTAR mission in military environment and the surveillance activity in the civilian environment. And in total, up to now, we performed more than 200 fly hours in automatic fly with the remote control, many of them, of course, with the safety pilot on board. I want to highlight the capability and the demonstration that we able to perform to demonstrate the precision auto-land and takeoff with a moving platform, simulating the ship operation. The generation of the position and all the parameters to permit to make the approach and the landing of the system, sorry, I didn't, apologize. To permit to make this activity, installed on board of the helicopter and on the track, the two systems to be able to generate the communication between the two systems to address, to drive the helicopter, to make the approach, the auto-landing, and takeoff. You can see the pilot doesn't have the hand on the control. We perform this activity in UK, in the Galles region, to demonstrate the little reconnaissance capability. The pilot doesn't have the hand on the cyclical and the quality pitch control. All this performance was performed in automatic mode. A lot of demonstration activity were performed. One you saw was in 2015 in Galles under the UK MOD environment. In that demonstration, we able to demonstrate the ISTAR capability and to share all the information on all the sensor on a different platform, not only on the ground control station. In the same year, in 2015, in Italy, under the Italian Blade military exercise, we perform the same activity, and then also we'll be able to operate in parallel with the manned aircraft, to transfer the information from unmanned to manned aircraft to permit to him to identify the different objective, the different subject. Other activity we performed in 2016 in UK, in Scotland, with the same scope. But what is important that the last year, in 2017, we performed two important activities. One was the surveillance under the civil activity, and we were able to achieve more than 100 nautical miles from the ground control station to make the surveillance on the coast. And at the end of the last year, we performed the full unmanned flight in the same place in Grottaglie Airport. To perform this activity, of course, the activity was performed in accordance and with the approval of the INACA Italian authorities. In detail, we performed two different tests. The first one was the very simple takeoff, over and landing, but the second one was the full mission profile. The duration was around 45 minutes. You see the control, but without the person on board. The pilot was only in case of emergency situation. On the runway, take off the helicopter, and then to perform the mission profile in the low-density populate area. and then the landing. Okay. The future activity will be to participate to Ocean 2020, that is the European program promoted by EDA. This program is a bigger program in which are involved 42 partners, like from industries, from the small and medium enterprise, but also the research institute, and also the European Navy. The activity, the scope in the project will be the enhanced situational airworthiness and the integration of various types of UXS. That means not only the UAV, but also on surface and under-surface UAV system. The demonstration will be performed, the first one, on the fourth quarter of next year in the Mediterranean Sea with two different scenarios. One will be the fast boat interdiction, and the second one, the cargo vessel interdiction. For both will participate the 2-hour system, AW Hero and AW4 Solo. And the second activity, the second demo, will be performed in the Baltic Sea in the third quarter of 2020 with two different scenarios also. The first will be the unmanned surface threat, and the second one will be the submerged threats to see that. Of course, we continue the evaluation and the development of the two systems. Thank you very much for your attention.
In recognizing the time and that we have already taken some of your coffee break, may I ask your forgiveness if I say that from the questions we have received, they are all very specific to individual panel members. So for everyone to see coffee, may I ask those who have asked questions to talk to the panel members directly during the break, and we will move on from there, and I will just summarize what I have heard this morning. I think it is fair to say we have seen and had a fantastic insight into the current use of RPAS and also the potential they have for both the near-term future and the longer term. I also see that there are still some quite significant challenges to be overcome, but a fantastic amount of work is being done to get over those challenges, whether they are technical, regulatory, or even in some cases the societal acceptance of the capabilities that we're looking to introduce. I hope what you have seen and heard will improve what you see about how you can make use of RPAS and provide the benefits that they clearly offer to us. And I hope you also see how what you are doing can solve the challenges to bring this into reality sooner rather than later. So with this, I would just ask you if you would join me to thank the panel members, Richard, Mildred, George, and Marzio, for sharing their insights and their experience this morning.
Thanks to Mike for doing a good job moderating. I had a lot of questions myself for the panelists, so I'm a little disappointed, but I'm right next to you. So with that, we're going to go to our coffee break. It's going to be a slightly shorter coffee break. We're going to be back here, ready to start at 11 a.m. Please make sure that if you don't have a translation headset, that you pick one up during the break. Thanks.